Welcome to the T&T Honda Podcast. Whether you're buying a new or used vehicle, servicing and maintaining your current vehicle, or following the latest trends in the auto industry, T&T Honda is steering you straight. Thanks for listening, and let's get on with the show. Today on the T&T Honda Podcast, we are talking all about adapting to the current situation. Now, there's been a lot of changes we've all had to make over the last 15 months. So now, Rose, explain what's been going on at T&T Honda.
Oh, wow. So many things. So let me think back. It seems like the year is a complete blur.
I know.
So when March of last year hit, so March of 2020, obviously there was a lot of confusion with regards to everything that was going on. First of all, we were deemed an essential service. So we had to figure out what could we do to maintain the level of service that our customers have grown to expect, as well as deal with the current situation at hand. So a few of the things that came to mind right away is how do we minimize contact between us and the customers while still providing a great level of service? So we came up with the concept of skip the dealership. So that's kind of twofold. So on the sales side of things, people who are still in market for a vehicle, we organized a fashion where we could actually send vehicles out to them so they could test drive, of course, after following the proper sanitization routines and stuff like that on the vehicle. So they could test drive at the comfort of their home or place of work. And then we can bring the vehicle back here, do all the paperwork and whatever else was required electronically through virtual methods and things like this. So that was one of the very key changes we made at the very beginning. And on the service side of things, we started offering skip the dealership as well by way of a valet service. So it took us a while to figure out the logistics of that.
Right.
But now I think we've got that pretty much figured out. So basically what we do is an employee from here takes one of our loaner cars, goes to the customer's house, picks up their vehicle, and then leaves our car there for the day. We bring back the customer's car here so we can get whatever services required done, and then return it back to the return it back to the customer once the service is done, sanitize the vehicle, hand them back the keys, and pick up our car. Now, with regards to the invoice and payment, we've also adapted to a text system. So we are texting customers their invoice, their work order, so they can see exactly what work was done, what the charges were, the total balance, and they have the option to pay with a mobile pay system.
Amazing.
So it makes things very easy, contactless, stress-free, and a lot of our customers are really, really enjoying that service.
That's fantastic. Now, has that taken a lot of additional manpower to adapt to all of these changes?
It did, especially initially, because there was a lot of uncertainty in the environment. Mm-hmm. And at that point, we also had to, unfortunately, do some temporary layoffs. So we were on a bit of a skeleton staff. So everybody kind of pitched in and, did whatever had to do. But now we've got it down to a system where we're scheduling the valet appointments for service. So we have a certain number that we can accommodate every day. And we'll book that. And if the customer, if we fill up for one day, then we'll just put the customer on the next day type of thing.
There's lots of other things that you're doing. You're using lots of other platforms as well with regards to the sales of vehicles and educating people about the different kinds of vehicles you've got coming through T&T Honda, aren't you?
Yeah. So first of all, I guess what we're doing right now, the podcast.
Yeah.
So we started the podcast late last year as a venue to share information, knowledge, tricks and tips, I guess, with consumers. So we've had a decent amount of engagement with the podcast in a way of getting information to customers. So this is one novel way. I believe we're the only Honda store in town that's doing this. So we're trying to reach our customers in whatever way they want to be reached out to. So that was one thing. Second thing as well is we've put a lot more emphasis on videos. Before we used to do like 30-second videos on a particular car, just some real high points on a vehicle, features, things like this. But now we're doing a lot more in-depth type presentation videos where we'll get into a lot more features on every particular model. So we've got a good number of these on our YouTube channel, which can be found on our website. And speaking of website, that is another thing that we just changed this March. So for those who are not familiar, changing a website is a very onerous task.
Yes.
But we thought that, with the current environment, we want to be as accessible, as user-friendly, as intuitive as possible when it comes to engaging with us virtually. Mm-hmm. So we decided to find a website platform that was way simpler, way cleaner, a lot easier to use, can do what right now is demanded of us, which is, to try and get things online as quickly as possible with as good information as possible in a timely fashion. Our old website provider, there was a lot of technical issues with it, and it was a bit cumbersome to get information up there. The new website is very responsive and allows us to do things at a moment's notice. So, and I hope the customers are experiencing that as well.
Do you have to ask, still the same sort of service is still being provided for people to come in and test drive and all of that kind of stuff when the restrictions allow?
That's correct. Yes. Again, because we are deemed an essential service, that functionality is still there. My major recommendation to customers is to do this on an appointment basis. Because of capacity restrictions and stuff like that. We want to make sure that we are adhering to all of the public health and safety protocols. So, for people to pop in, we can't really predict what our capacity looks like at that point. I mean, we're fortunate. We have a high capacity, a large store. So usually we can accommodate even if it is a drop-in type customer, but as much as possible, we would definitely encourage customers to work on a by appointment basis as much as possible. So a couple of other things that we're offering right now is we actually have a vehicle sanitization system available.
Oh, amazing.
So, we do offer the regular detail cleanings and stuff like that. But there's a difference between cleaning and sanitization. So something can look clean, but it may not be sanitized, if you get my meaning. And something could be sanitized, but still have a layer of dust on it.
Yes.
Right? So we offer both a cleaning service, the detail service, as well as a sanitization service. So this would be something where the customer would leave the car with us for a period of time so we could get that work done. And if they're interested in doing that kind of thing, just talk to one of our super service advisors and they'll give them all the information on that. We're trying to look and see what is available out there to help our customers in times like this, to try and make things as easy as possible. We've had, some restrictions with regards to how we can get people around. So we're offering now more loaner cars, more rental cars, because we're not able to do our shuttle like we used to in the same capacity. So we're trying to adapt as best we can. But all things being said, there will maybe be some inconveniences that we all have to go through while we get over this interesting time that we're in. And we really, really appreciate the customers' patience and understanding as we get through this. And if there's any special requests or anything like that, please, we're open. We will do our absolute best to accommodate whatever we can based on the guidelines that we've been given.
Fantastic. It's been a very, very interesting time now. Are there things that you've started to do at T&T that you have either turned out to be, this is actually fantastic, this is really streamlined things, or that you think are going to stick around just because of the circumstances?
Yeah, so a few things. So first of all, this whole idea of virtual, right? So this is not going away. If anything, it's going to get stronger and more used as we go on through the years. So I think, we were kind of forced into maybe hastening our timeline on things like this, but it was good from that point of view. That, we were able to develop and grow our online resources and are still continuing to do that and will continue to do that in the future. Secondly, things like convenience services like the valet service we talked about.
Yes.
I can foresee that will carry on because it is a great service for consumers as people start to get back to work when we're allowed. So they're in their office towers downtown or whatever. We can just go pick up their car, get it serviced, drop it back to them.
That's
How
amazing.
cool would that be, right? So, I can foresee things like that carrying on into the future, perhaps in a slightly modified form. However, I do see that there are going to be quite a few things that we've learned through these last 15 months that will definitely carry forward.
Fantastic. And there's so many resources now for people to almost spend one-on-one time with you with this podcast, where it's like they can chat with Navros for probably a full day now with the amount of episodes we've got.
Yeah, that might put them to sleep, but yeah, for sure.
I love it.
If they want to chat like actually, then we're more than happy to do that in a virtual basis as well. We have the facilities to be able to do that.
Fantastic. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just, you know what? Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. It is some very interesting times that we're going through right now. We just have to all look after each other and, be nice to each other, be happy. Let's get through this together.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the T&T Honda Podcast. We'll be back with lots more for you very soon. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, and of course subscribe to keep up to date with everything that's going on. In the meantime, check out tnthonda.com and we'll be back with another episode very soon.
'Cause T&T Honda steering you straight.